welcome to my Best in Beauty of 2016. We're going to be chatting about the best items that I came across this year. They could either be the top of the category and they've totally knocked out anything that I loved previously, or it is just the best of that category that I discovered this year. I've got a December favorites, which I will link to down below, and these are products that I love throughout December, but it didn't seem right including them in my Best in Beauty for 2016. And then I'm also working on a Worst in Beauty for 2016. So keep an eye out for that. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so hopefully my nasally voice isn't going to drive you crazy. Maybe you are also suffering with like a Christmas cold. I always get one. But I also wanted to say a big, huge thank you to any of you, whoever you are, whether you just subscribed or have been watching me for a while. 2016 has been an absolutely insane year for me. I moved out of where I grew up and was living for like 25 years, got a new job. My YouTube has totally become something way bigger and better than I ever thought it could be. So a huge thank you to anybody who takes the time to watch my videos, like them, comment, chat with me on Snapchat, Twitter, share. You know, whatever it is, however we have interacted. If we haven't even interacted and you're just like a watcher, not a talker, like, I totally appreciate it. This has been an amazing year and I'm so looking forward to next year. And yeah, let's just get chatting about the makeup. Why don't we start with foundations? This is kind of a tricky one because I just wrapped up the 12 days of foundation. Keep an eye out in early January. I'll be doing a wrap up of everything that I tried, and I've got a few new absolute favorites, but because they're very new to me, it didn't feel right to include them in my Best in Beauty 2016, but I still do have 3 foundations here that I loved this year. The first one is slightly newer to me. I got about halfway through the year. It is the Dermablend Smooth Liquid Camo. It is what I'm wearing today. I've got a full review on this. I did a winter foundation routine. Anything that I'm chatting about that I've already done a video on, I will link to down below. But this lists itself as having medium coverage, but damn, it is so full coverage, blends beautifully, doesn't feel heavy or cakey on the skin, lasts really well on my oily skin, and I think it could work for normal or combination, potentially dry if you want to mix an oil in there. But this foundation just blew me away. I can see why Dermablend is such like an iconic brand. Then another foundation on the absolute opposite spectrum of that is a foundation that encouraged me to go outside of my comfort zone. I skipped concealer basically throughout the entire summer because of this guy. It is the Makeup Forever Water Blend Foundation. This is incredibly lightweight. It was interesting though because I saw a lot of reviews on this where people didn't like it because they couldn't get any coverage. I get a beautiful amount of coverage out of this. Like, this is something that I love throwing on like Saturday, Sunday morning when I just want a little bit of coverage. I'm running out to brunch, grocery shopping, like running to the dollar store, whatever it is I'm doing. This is just gorgeous. It was great in the summer because it showed off my freckles. It feels so lightweight. It definitely doesn't hold up super well on my oily skin. Mattifying primer, mattifying powder. Even I loved this underneath a powder foundation, but it's just gorgeous. I think it can work for any skin type, and it just is something so new and interesting to me, so definitely a favorite for this month. And then another foundation that I loved that is just super easy, great from the drugstore, the CoverGirl Clean Matte BB. Again, I've got a full review on this. I don't think it's a BB cream. I think it's a lightweight foundation. You can get a nice medium coverage out of this. I use this with my hands and it's just so nice. Limited shade range, only about 6 in there because they call it a BB. Hopefully they will expand it because I feel like a lot of people really liked this, but it's just gorgeous, feels really lightweight on the skin, and lasted really well. To help keep all of my foundations in place and lasting long, I was reaching for Makeup Forever a ton. I loved the Makeup Forever Step 1 Mattifying Primer. I don't find that many primers do much of anything for my skin in the way of mattifying, but I really feel like this did something for me. A lot of people feel like it is like a gluey texture, but for me, I'm like, bring on the thickness, whatever you gotta do to mattify. So unless you are incredibly oily or you're just gonna be putting in your oily zones, I can see how this may be a bit much, but if you have oily skin, it really is great, and you can get a mini of this at Sephora. I don't know like how much value there is in the mini based on the cost and how much product you're getting, but if you do want to try it out, you could go that route or ask for a sample. And then again, in the same line, the Makeup Forever Mist and Fix. This truly helps keep your makeup in place. I've tried a lot of setting sprays that take away the powdery look, make things blend together, and help to set your face, but this is something that I reached for so much. I only got this in January and it's like all the way down here. I don't use it all the time. I don't use a setting spray like on an average day, but if I know that I'm going to be going out after work, if I'm going out in the evening, anything like that, this is what I reach for. Another skin product that I loved, and if you have yellow or warm undertones in your skin, this is a bit of a lifesaver. It is the Body Shop Bronzing Drops in Honey Bronze. I have a full review on these along with the Lightening Drops and the Darkening Drops. The Darkening Drops were a little bit of a letdown for me because they were very cool toned. So it's actually something you could use for a cream contour, but this is super warm. It doesn't make your foundations look gray. It just adds enough warmth. It doesn't change the consistency. Super light and sheer. It reminds me of the Bonnie Bell Liquid Gel Bronzers. If you remember that, my grandmother still uses it. I remember using it as a kid because she had it, and this is kind of like the grown-up version of that. So if you have a lot of issues trying to get a foundation to match to you, or if you get deeper in the summertime or you just can never find that nice warm undertone, these are great. For powders this year, there were two that I was reaching for a ton. The first is the Maybelline Superstay Better Skin Powder. This is gorgeous. I actually have been meaning to try this as a powder foundation and I keep forgetting. Let me know if you've ever tried it, but I love this to set my face. I use it in a couple different shades depending on which one I am. I've got 70, 80, and 95. I'm wearing 95 today, and it is just super smooth, great at setting your face. It's not like meant to be a mattifying powder or anything like that, but it just adds a little bit of color to your skin, sets your foundation, and it just feels very luxurious. Sometimes drugstore powders can be chalky and have a lot of powder kick up, but not the case with this guy. And then something else that I was loving this year was the Rimmel, what is this called? Clear Complexion Powder. And I use this on a kabuki brush. After I set my face, sometimes I would even set it with this guy, then go in with this and pack on a ton. And I really felt like that helped keep my makeup in place. Looked a little bit powdery to start off with, but if you have oily skin, give it a go, see what happens, maybe on a day where you're not being photographed or anything like that. But it definitely helped keep me more oil free. I didn't have to blot as much, or if any. You could potentially do this with any translucent powder. I was also doing it with the Neutrogena Shine Control Powder, which I've talked about a ton, but I moved on to this one and it did a really good job. Before we move off of a complexion product, I wanted to briefly chat about a skincare item. I didn't want to do like a whole skincare portion, and I didn't want to do a dedicated video to skincare, so I was like, what product this year in the way of skincare absolutely changed the game for you if you had to pick one? And it is this guy. I mentioned it in my moisturizers for oily skin video. It is the Clarins Multi-Active Night Cream for combination and normal skin. They've also got a dry skin version. I truly feel like this has made a difference in my skin. I've gotten lots of compliments on it in my Oily Skin Diary series, and I really feel like this does something for me. It adds just enough moisture. It is not too greasy on my skin. If you need something heavier, of course you can go for the dry skin version, but my skin just feels brighter and more clear. And I'm not saying that it's like clearing up my acne necessarily, because they just kind of come and go. Like, I feel like that's just my life, but the rest of my skin just looks so good, and I really feel like this has something to do with it. I want to briefly chat about nail polish. I'm not like a nail polish expert, but I'm a nail polish lover, and I wanted to talk about the ones that I really like this year, particularly a shade, and then I also have a formula. Right now I actually have a shellac mani on because I'm currently, as we speak, home in Newfoundland because I'm pre-filming this guy just before the holidays, and I got this shellac mani done at the 10 spot here in Toronto, and I got my brows done. It felt so good. I hadn't had my brows done in so long. I was like, I'm a monster. I will link to them down below. But one nail polish shade that I wore like crazy, so much so that a third of the bottle is gone, is the L'Oreal Oil Infused Nail Polish. I'm not going to say the French name because I'll just butcher it, but I can say the name of the polish. It's 220 Dimanche Après Midi. Every time I wore this shade, I got so many compliments on it. It is super long wearing, a gorgeous formula. You could do 2 or 3 coats depending on how opaque you want it to get. Not streaky. The brush on it is nice and thick. It's lightly scented. It is just absolutely gorgeous. I really like the whole line of nail polish, but like this shade is something that I wore all the time. But if I had to choose a formula that I've fallen in love with, it is the Essie Gel Couture. These are what I reach for before I go out of town on a work trip, because I know that like I'm not gonna have time to paint my nails when I'm away for work. I'm outside all day. I'm like, it's kind of physical sometimes, and these just do such a good job. When people talk about like getting a week out of their mani, I'm like, what? Are you crazy? Like, whether I get a professional manicure that's like just polished, not shellac, or I do it myself, I can get like 2 days, 3 days before it chips, but this seriously does such a good job. Even if it wears away along the tip, it doesn't get those big chips that are super like noticeable and you kind of feel like a streel and you're like, please don't look at my nails. These are amazing. I have 2 different shades here in Sheer Fantasy, and then this one is in First View and Light Pink and a Light Blue, which are 2 of my favorites. They've got a gigantic shade range, and I recommend picking up the polish and the top coat if you are looking for something that's really going to last on your nails. If you're the kind of person that either doesn't have a lot of time to paint your nails or doesn't want to bother, these kill it. I should have warned you that this is going to be a long video, but I mean, you can already see what time the video ends anyway, so there's no point in me saying anything. Let's move on to brows. A product that I absolutely fell in love with this year is the L'Oreal Brow Definer. Wearing it on my brows today and it is gone. I was like scraping the last little bits, but if you're looking for a brow pencil that is comparable to the Anastasia Brow Wiz, I totally think that this is up there. Half the price. It's amazing. A great spoolie on there. I'm not sure, like, I don't think the shade range is as big as the Anastasia one, but it is so good. I'm wearing it in brunette. I've also worn it in dark brown when my hair was a little bit darker. It's long lasting, it's waxy, not too creamy, doesn't slip around on your face. And then I also have been loving the Marcel Perfect Brow. It annoys me so much when companies come out with brow products that have these gigantic brushes on them, because even if you have big eyebrows, like my eyebrows are not huge, but they're on the thicker side, I guess, like it still gets really messy and like you're messing up your foundation, you're like trying to clean things up. This has a tiny little brush. It's also angled. It's got a little bit of color in there and hold, so it's like the perfect brow product. As someone with oily eyelids, I'm always on the hunt for something that is going to help my eyeshadows last. I didn't wear them for a long time because I was like, they just crease and fall off my eyes, so what's the point? I fell in love with the NARS Smudge Proof Primer, which is something I still love, but I've come across 2 drugstore options that I really like. The first is the Essence I Heart Color Intensifying Eyeshadow Base. I've yet to try the I Love Stage or whatever it's called. This one has a slight pink tint, nothing that really shows up on your lids. I wouldn't say it's like opaque enough that it's really going to intensify eyeshadows. Like if you're looking for that, I would go with a white base, mix it in with this. But I do feel like this helps keep my eyeshadows in place, reduce creasing and oil production. Along with this one from NYX, it is the Proofit Waterproof Eyeshadow Base. I have not tested the waterproof properties of this. It is a clear base, so it doesn't do any canceling or intensifying of eyeshadows, but I do feel like it helps keep things in place. For mascaras this year, I feel like I had a lot of really great mascara wins. As I've mentioned before, from Clarins, their Supra Volume Mascara is amazing. Their Truly Waterproof Mascara is amazing. They make some of the best mascaras I've ever tried. Super Volume is one that I'm on right now, and I was on the Truly Waterproof until that guy ran out. So much volume, so much length, and it is just beautiful. And if you're in the market for a drugstore option, Essence came out with the best mascaras. They are so good. They are their Forbidden Volume mascara. So this is the Forbidden Volume, and then this is the Forbidden Volume Rebel. Either way, they're both great. If I had to choose one, I might go with the red. I honestly like layering them up, but tons of volume. They do not flake. They hold a curl, and these are so good. Like up there with the Clarins one, but they cost like $5 each. For bronzers this year, I'm picking the Makeup Forever Pro Fusion Bronze. I'm wearing this in the shade 30M. For a long time, I could not find a bronzer to suit me, and then I found some that were good, but this one is like perfect for me. If you have bronzer suggestions and you're around my shade, let me know down below, because I feel like I've just talked about this one and the Clarins one and the NYX one so much, and I need to like expand my bronzer world, but I always feel like they're my skin tone and they're never like, you know, like they're actually my skin tone. Like I could use it as a powder, not like they're suited for my skin tone. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know down below. But this is a gel powder bronzer. You're gonna need to go in with a little bit of a more dense brush to pick it up, but it is so soft, so smooth. I think there's some shimmer ones in the line, but this one is matte. There's some lighter ones. There's a shade just above, and it is just perfect. Adds a little bit of warmth to your skin. It's not orange, and it blends like a dream. If you had asked me January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, or up until mid-September, what my favorite contour of the year was going to be, hands down, this guy. It is the Kat Von D shade Light. I've talked about it a bajillion times. I've had it since January and it is worn down, but it is gorgeous. If you feel like it's going to be too light for your skin tone because you see a lot of more pale people using it. It's so versatile because you've got that really light, cool tone shade, which is great for paler skin, and then you've also got the very deep shades in there that are better for deeper skin. This is beautiful. I love the under eye powders. I've got a backup. It is gorgeous. Highly recommend. But if you have seen any of my recent videos, my Sephora VIB haul, you would have seen that I've fallen in love with this guy. It is the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder. He is pricey, $57, but it is the perfect contour shade for me. And the Kat Von D one, I love it, but I have to mix together those two deeper shades. This one, don't have to mix anything. You can't overdo it. It is the perfect cool toned powder for me. This is in the shade Deep, so it's a little bit newer to their line. I've got a full review on it. I will link to it down below with swatch comparisons, but it is perfect. Worth it to me for $57 because like the Kat Von D kit costs about the same, and there's, you know, one shade in there that I can't use. This is something that I know works for me and is super easy, and it is gorgeous. So there's now a light, medium, and deep. So if you have been eyeing it and you felt like the medium wasn't gonna work for you, perhaps you'd be able to go to one of the light or deep shades. I almost forgot to mention this guy. I was a little bit torn when I was trying to figure out what concealer blew my mind this year, and none really did. But that being said, the Too Faced Born This Way concealer is something that I reached for a ton. I got it at Gen Beauty in May, and I used it for months and months and months afterwards. So it's a great concealer, goes on super smooth, nice medium coverage. It's not too moisturizing, it's not too dry. It's not like, oh my god, I definitely need to go out and repurchase this, but it is a great concealer, and it is something that I reached for a ton in 2016. So this next category is something that I had so much trouble trying to pick because I feel like 2016 was the year of the highlighter, and choosing a favorite is like choosing a favorite child. I picked 3, but I still could have picked a lot more. If you'd like to see a video on my favorite highlighters or highlighter collection or something, let me know because that sounds like lots of fun. But I have picked my top 3. The first one is something that I wore a ton, and it's already worn down. I only got it like sometime when I was in the States early this year. It is Laura Geller's Gilded Honey. Absolutely beautiful. I think it's $28 American, so that makes it like 35 something or like 33 Canadian, which is totally reasonable in comparison to like some of the really high-end highlighters that are quite popular right now. This is beautiful. So hyped up, but so absolutely worth it. I'm wearing it today in combination with something else, but I've already worn down like all the swirlies in here. I've tried to purchase a few of the other ones, and every time I'm in the States and go to Ulta, I swatch the other ones, but they're quite pink toned and really like not my jam. But this one is so golden and beautiful. It's super smooth. Again, similar to that Makeup Forever texture. It's got that gel powder hybrid, so if you want it really, really intense, you've got to go in with a bit of a deeper brush. Denser brush, but it is stunning. And then another guy who came into my life a few months ago now, which I am also wearing today, is from Kiko Milano. This is their number 208 water eyeshadow. It's something I've lusted after for years. My friend was in Barcelona and she was like, hey, is there anything you need? And I was like, number 208, Kiko, please, please, please. It's so pretty. And it's like near impossible to get in Canada. And she was like, oh my god, I just passed by a Kiko store, like let me go in. The makeup highlighter gods have spoken. It is gorgeous. Again, that gel powder hybrid texture. That is what I'm the most into, I think, because my other highlighter is a very similar texture. But if you love gold, if you're into something like the Laura Geller Gilded Honey, this again is totally in that same line. Very beautiful. It is an eyeshadow that totally doubles as a highlighter. And if you live in Europe or the United States, you're able to order it online. In Canada, you're going to need to find like a highlighter mule because it is so worth it. And the last highlighter that I want to mention is, I don't know if I'm cheating because I only got this like 2 months ago, but it is a MAC's Beaming Blush. They released 4 highlighters, all permanent to their collection, which is super exciting, and this is just so beautiful to me. It's got a pink gold shift, but not too pink. I was really scared about that because anything too pink on my skin, I don't like. I like it definitely to be warmer, but it's just perfect. I love it on the eyes. I love it on my cheeks. I saw some girl at MAC and I was like, what are you wearing on your face? She was like, Beaming Blush. And she had quite pale skin and blonde hair. It looked great on her, but they've also got some other shades that may be more suitable for cooler tone skin tones. But this is just So beautiful. No glitter in here, no heavy shimmers. It's just so smooth. Looks quite natural on the skin, but you can really build it up for an intense highlight as well. I feel like I'm making decent time considering how many things I'm talking about. I'm trying not to talk too fast and not leave out too much information, but I'm also trying not to like be super slow about it and drag on because I don't want to waste all your time. Let's talk blushes from Face Atelier. This is their blush in Tangerine. Stunning. You know how I feel about like orangey corally blushes. This is just light enough for me so that it doesn't look chalky on my skin. Gives the most beautiful pop. I love pairing this with the Gilded Honey highlight. It is just perfect. I think if you have lighter skin as well, it'll be gorgeous. If you have really deep skin, I think that this could look great as well. Face Atelier is a brand that a lot of makeup artists use. It is so finely milled, super long wearing if you have oily skin and you feel like blushes disappear or patch off on you. This is such a beautiful brand. I'm really looking forward to trying some more of their blushes because this one has just been stunning. I also love running this just in the crease of my eye to add a little bit of warmth and interest. Such a pretty color. Then also from a drugstore brand, if you're looking for, oh, I thought that was gonna fall on the ground. She's safe. If you're looking for a blush from a drugstore brand, I've fallen in love with the, goddamn, got a cold, guys. I'm heavily medicated. I've fallen in love with the Makeup Revolution matte blushes. I'm wearing the shade Fusion today on my cheeks. I've also chatted about new rules before. These come in huge pans, cost like $5 or $6. They're matte. They are a little bit powdery, but not super powdery, and drugstore blushes to me are definitely lacking, but these are gorgeous. They feel super high-end. The packaging doesn't come with any stupid little brush. I hate how drugstore blushes come in these tiny little pans and they put tiny little brushes, and it's just such a waste of time and space. These, however, are not the case. The last blush that I loved this month is from Lorac. They released this line earlier this year. This one is in the shade Cinematic, and it's just a perfect neutral shade. It's a little bit rosier and slightly deeper than MAC's Copper Tone, which is an absolute favorite of mine. This is a matte blush. They've got some shimmers in there. I think they recently extended their line. I love their highlight too, but I passed on including it in this video. This is the kind of shade that I love to put on my cheeks. I love to wear it on my eyes. Super creamy, kind of powdery, if that makes sense. I know those are two, like, that's an oxymoron, but you know, you get me. And I just love everything that Lorac does, and these blushes are awesome if you haven't checked them out. I don't think that the palettes that I chose are going to be at all a shock to you. I think they're going to show up in a lot of people's Best in Beauty videos, but I can't resist the warm and the rusty, and these palettes totally satisfy my craving for that. The Too Faced Peanut Butter and Jelly is just gorgeous. It has everything I need in here. It's got a nice gold. It's got two great matte warm transition shades. I'm wearing the shade Peanut Brittle on my lid today, which is a gorgeous metallic kind of peanutty shade. It is just perfect. I love it. And then the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. This is something that I tried to resist getting and then obviously gave in because it's everything I've ever wanted in a palette. Like, don't be so silly, Samantha. But I love that this is neutral but also encourages people to step outside of their comfort zones. It's got a pink, it's got an orange, it's got a deep red, it's got a burgundy. And you know, it's like one day you're getting ready and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna put burgundy in the crease, and then you do it and then you're like, I'm addicted to these warm shades now and this is my life. So it's nice that it is a neutral, but it's got something interesting in there because there's just so many neutral palettes that come out every day and they're like trying to be the naked palette. So it's so nice to see that Anastasia has come out with something that is so gorgeous, encourages you to try something new, and is permanent. We are almost there, my friends. I just have some lippies to talk about. First of all, the Maybelline Loaded Bolds. I've got a swatch video on these. I've since acquired a ton more, so if you'd like to see an updated like a blog post or lip swatches or something on these, let me know down below. But first of all, it's a formula, and these are great as to be expected from Maybelline. They make fabulous lipsticks, but what I love the most is the shade range. Similar to the Modern Renaissance palette, except not exactly as wearable, but there's just so many bold shades, and it's so nice to see that from the drugstore. It's like, just because I want to wear a bold lipstick, by no means does this mean I want to have to go to a high-end store and pay a ton of money for like Sapphire Siren, which is not a shade I'm going to wear all the time, but it's gorgeous and so unique. I'm wearing the shade Chocoholic today. It is a gorgeous deep brown. They've also got neutrals in there, a white and black to mix with lipsticks, and these are just so good. If I had to choose a favorite lipstick formula of the year, hands down, ColourPop Ultra Satin Lips. These blew me away. I ordered one thinking that it would be okay, kind of like a liquid lipstick that doesn't dry down matte, and there'd be tons of transfer and it would wear off very fast. but this is like everything I've ever wanted in a lipstick. It's long wearing, it's matte. They come in a gorgeous amount of shades. They cost like $6, $8 Canadian or so, but they're matte and they stay on your lips and they're comfortable and they're not like, they don't look crusty, they don't feel dry, they just are so good. So if you like liquid lipsticks and you're kind of getting sick of that dry feeling, but you still want something matte and long lasting, these are so freaking good. The MAC Retro Matte Liquid Lipsticks are a favorite of mine as well. I've chatted about these a good bit in, I think, favorites videos. Mango Mango is a shade that I love to pair with Kat Von D's Lolita. That is like my signature lip look. And then High Drama is just a gorgeous, deep, wintry, kind of vampy shade. They're comfortable on the lips. I love the applicator. It's kind of in a bit of like a diamond-y shape, so it makes it really easy to get a precise line. They've recently released some more shades, some more neutrals in there, and then some really cool kind of more bold shades, but these are very comfortable on the lips. Definitely a little bit more drying than something like a more traditional lipstick, but in the way of liquid lipsticks, I think that these are great. The same can be said for the Smashbox Always On Liquid Lipsticks. They are both owned by the same company and both made in the same factory in Italy. I'm pretty sure I watched Stephanie Nicole do a video on that, but either way, these also are amazing. The shade Stepping Out is a perfect neutral. Out Loud is like that gray kind of orangey red, and then Chill Zone is just a super cool gray. But these, again, very comfortable, definitely a little bit more drying, but if you do like that matte lip look and you don't want something that's really gonna like dry out your lips, these are gorgeous. And they actually have a little bit of the Smashbox primer oil in there to add some added hydration. Lastly, I want to talk about two lip gloss formulas. Well, e.l.f. is actually calling this a high shine liquid lipstick, but it's kind of more like a liquefied lipstick. So by no means does this dry down matte. It is high shine, super glossy, a kind of a thick, slightly sticky formula, but that helps with the wear time. I've only tried the shade Bitten Pink. Currently, there's only 3 shades out, I believe, but it's got a really nice, fluffy doe foot applicator, really great wear time on the lips, and for me, it is the color and the finish. It's just so easy to throw on, something that I had to go like dig out of my purse to show you guys, and I think that this is just such a great formula and super moisturizing. And then lastly, from Essence, it is their BB Beauty Balm, which is repeating themselves, lip gloss. And generally I don't reach for lip glosses that have a whole ton of color in them, but these are so pretty. They've got just enough pigment so that you don't end up with streakiness, but it's also not too much that you feel like it's gonna bleed all over the place. The shade, what is this, Sweet Dreams, is something that I reached for a ton in the summer. Super hydrating, again, a bit of a thicker formula, but they last nicely on the lips and super hydrating. So there you have it. That is everything I loved throughout 2016. Thank you for sticking with me. If you made it to the end, I hope you had and are having a great holiday with your friends and family, pets, whoever you are celebrating with. Sending you tons of love and well wishes for 2017, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!